Game week 11 of the Premier League season is done, and this one sees a West Ham fan and a born and bred West Ham lad beat Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What a good afternoon it has been, Sean.
How did you make that up at West Ham? I wonder where you were going with that.
Yeah, well, Sammy Schmodix, West Ham fan. Ben Johnson, through and through, West Ham.
Yeah,
See?
you're clutching at straws there to try and get anything out of that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got no positives, so, we've got to flip it somehow, aren't we? Good evening to everyone at you well. Positives for the weekend. Spurs lost to Luton. We didn't lose, a clean sheet. And we got seats on the train. Of course, we got seats on the train. Who do you think we are? Negatives, couldn't score for Toffee. See what you did there. No threat, no creativity. Lopetegui. I think that is a pretty fair assessment. Geordie's in, have you well? Good weekend for you. We'll come on to that game a little bit later on. Larry is in. Hope you are well. We're going to start with a game that we talked about briefly last week, which we saw as pretty decisive at the foot of the Premier League table. And Wolves have their first win of the Premier League season on the 10th of November against Southampton by 2-0, Sean.
Yeah, we did say it'd be an interesting one, didn't we, after Southampton got their first win. I think I'm right in saying Southampton had like 75% possession and no shots on target, or no shots at all. Something like that. I didn't even have a guess at the result, but
71% possession they had with one shot on goal.
One shot, yeah. It's not going to be sustainable, is it? Only thing is, I think he's one of them coaches that won't change. A bit like a lot. Saying that a lot, it's probably weird to say he won't change, because I don't think many coaches do change nowadays. They've got the way they play. They'll keep banging the same excuse if it's not quite good enough. They'll take responsibility. They got to improve. Blah blah blah. They'll keep working on this. So I don't think he'd change. I don't really know the board would like for making snap judgments on sackings and that, but for anyone like you're a lot. Most of your fan base want your manager out, but then I see the list who can come in. So even clubs like Southampton, or you go higher up the league, like United have managed to get one. He was quite highly thought of. The list of who's available or who clubs want, I think it's getting less and less all the time. Like even Slot was classed a bit of a gamble for Liverpool. At the moment, that's just about paying off, you'd say. So who would Southampton go for? I honestly would not have a clue. No. I think, and so it makes me wonder whether they actually will get rid of him, or whether they'll think of the bigger picture and stick with him. But as I said, he's one of them that this won't change, and the Wolves fans don't rate their manager. There's gonna be a bit of a moany pattern for my voice tonight. I'm pre-warning you.
I got a sense of that. I thought that. Fathead says, great result for Wolves. Another West Ham fan with a win. Gary O'Neill again. Let's clutch at some straws because we've got nothing else to talk about. I mean, this is the first Premier League Roundup show in the history of the Premier League Roundup show where we're not actually going to do the West Ham game, because I sat there and went, you know what, we do 6 games a week. There's no justification for doing West Ham tonight. There's absolutely no justification for doing it, so we aren't going to do it. I mean, Fat Sharky, you steady on. I'm managing to contain my excitement after the Everton game. I mean, it enthralled me as well. I'd rather Jake as manager than Lopetegui. At least the players will be motivated and there'll be some passion. I mean, to be fair, I think I can give it a good go at this current moment in time. Probably better than the establishment that we have there. But there we go. Next up, let's go. Where are we going? I don't know. Let's go to the G-Tech. Is it still called that? I don't know. Brentford. Oh, Sean's left me. See? How fantastic. How fantastic. I think he's having a few technical problems there. So we were going to come on to Brentford versus Bournemouth. I will stall for just a second. And maybe this is a perfect opportunity to discuss what a fantastic game it was yesterday at the London Stadium. I'm sure most of you saw my match reaction leaving the ground yesterday. It wasn't great, was it? It really wasn't fantastic. And I've stalled long enough because Sean is back. Technical problems. Sorry, Sean, what's going on?
I don't know. The sound went weird, so I had to cut it out and open it up again. I don't know what went on
there. We're live. Anyway, Brentford 3, Bournemouth 2. Bournemouth were looking amazing, and then they falter a little bit. Brentford, they're up and down. A game that, I saw goals coming in this, and it delivered.
Yeah, so it went back and forth a little bit, didn't it? Are
Mm.
these two sides, are they one of the cluster between 3rd and 11th? Are they a bit below that down with your lot?
I am going to have a little look. So Brentford are 11th and Bournemouth are 12th. Yeah.
Yeah, the table is. Oh yeah, I should know. No, 11th. I actually had a look a minute ago. It's a funny Premier League this year.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. Is my honest. I've got an opinion on little bits and bobs on a lot of these teams, and I could probably throw a blanket over all of them a little bit. What I'd say about them, but I think the difference in these two clubs are two you'd have to call small football clubs. So I think their fan base are probably quite easy to please on that basis. So if you say they're playing okay, involved in 5-goal thrillers, sitting 11th and 12th, if you're a fat supporter of those, you probably snap your hand off. But I'm not going to let you get away and not talk about West Ham tonight. So you're obviously in the little cluster just below those two, I'd imagine. About 14th, aren't you?
Yeah.
But your fan base obviously probably thinks you're a little bit bigger club than what a Bournemouth or a Brentford, which it's fair enough. You probably are just a bit. Yeah, you are bigger, but you're obviously Would you be happy with 11th or 12th? Is that good enough? I know you're not happy with 14th, but is that good enough?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I take 11th now because I can't see it. Can't see it improving too much, but I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, there's that cluster, and someone put it on Twitter earlier. I mean, from what is it? From 18 points to 15 points, it's like 3rd to 13th. Like it's so bunched together.
Yeah, I know we're going a bit off track here, but probably because we struggle to talk about Bournemouth and Brentford because, although I'm chuffed for their fans, they've got this Premier League era going on. It's hard for fans or followers from outside of their little bubble to really get involved in them. If that makes sense, it's hard to. You can appreciate good players here and there and a good manager. You can spot that, but other than that, you just repeat the same as what we say every week about them. I don't know.
Yeah, but, no weird side.
It's a funny league, and I don't know whether it's funny or absolutely dreadful. I'm not entirely sure, and I will keep mentioning West Ham throughout this next half an hour because I got bits and bobs to drag them into.
I bet you have. Right, let's take some comments. Down with our lot, the cheek. We are champions of Europe. Don't forget that, Sean. Don't forget that when you're mewing over your Ipswich defeat. I mean, decent sides, put Ipswich aside at home, Sean. So once you get to that level, just let us know, right? Sharky's gifted a channel membership. Thank you very much indeed for that. I'll take a van driver at this point in time. I think that just about epitomises everything about the managerial position at our football club. Ronnie, resident Spurs fan, Sean, we know better. 5 defeats out of 11. Rubbish. Well, we'll come on to Spurs a little bit later on. This season, we'll take 16th. That's bleak. That is bleak. 11th or 12th is realistically the best we can do. I can't disagree with that. We still got to be aiming for 8th to 12th, given the investment over the last few years. Absolutely overarching, looking at for sure.
It's not always about the money spent, though, is it? Because the money spent over the years, and you've probably got a few buys that have had a good 6 months or so, or a good year or so. And I always question when you have players that do that. If they can't be top players for a long period, is that why some of the bigger clubs never looked at them originally? Do you know what I mean? I know for a fact a lot of clubs and a lot of managers strongly look at characters of players, not just what they've watched them play for Ajax for 10 games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some clubs and a lot of clubs look deeper than that. And when you do get a player, he's good, and then Kudos, he's getting linked now to other moves and things like that. Is it the character? Like, I'm not saying he's been one of your worst players in this season, but I think he's probably dipped off. The sending off was idiotic, almost like we said last week, almost like he would have done it on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Could say same about Alvarez and especially Paqueta. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last season you thought, blimey, how have we got these players? Now you're kind of thinking, is this why we've got them? Do you know what I mean? Is there little chinks that other clubs thought, no, we're going to swerve from it? So spending a bomb, getting a player in which has got a lot of ability. There's clearly chinks in the armor of all these stars, as you call them, a little bit. And then you blame do you use the spending as an excuse in that we should be higher? Probably not, because how they're working out, they've probably looked all a little bit like gambles now. I'd say. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point in terms of the sort of, prolonging of the players' ability and ensuring that they keep a level of keep a level of quality, which perhaps they haven't done going into this season. Spurs won't finish any higher than 8th, says Ronnie. Wow, there we go. Next up, let's go to the Amex, which has seen a little bit of history as Manchester City have lost 4 times in a row in all comps for a significantly long time. 2-1 defeats on the bounce in the Premier League at the hands of Bournemouth and Brighton. And yeah, it's a struggle for Manchester City, Sean.
It was nearly a carbon copy of when Arlott went to Brighton. We went 2 up. We did actually batter them like Man City did. Man City probably should have had another 1 or 2. And I think Jamie Redknapp said at half time, he said, this ain't over, because they've seen Brighton do it before. And Brighton made a change at half time. They did exactly what they did against us. They pushed up the field, pressured harder, more commitment. We've seen it. And Brighton, as well as those 2 victories we just mentioned, then they're another side. And it's all very well, people in your comments saying Spurs won't finish above 8. You're a lot saying we got 8 to 12.
That's a Spurs fan saying you won't finish above 8.
You might be right, but then again, you got to repeat I'm going to repeat this quite a lot tonight. At the moment, 3 points separate 3rd to 11th, and out of the 3rd to 11th, there's probably only about 2 or 3 fan bases who are actually happy with their season so far. It's been that inconsistent. Like, you can talk about Spurs, Man City. Man City are what, second now, aren't they? Still second.
Yes,
okay, I'm going to chuck Man City into that. You can go from Man City, Newcastle, Villa, Arsenal, maybe Chelsea. I think I'd be quite happy if I was a Chelsea fan. Yeah. Forest have done well. Spurs. They've all had quite a few absolute stinkers amongst them all.
Yeah, and I'd say from 1 to 13, you've got, I'd say, Liverpool, Forest, Brighton, Chelsea, Fulham, Newcastle. I'd say are the only teams that are probably content with where they are.
I wouldn't go. Well, what are Newcastle? How many points are they on now? About the same.
Newcastle 18.
Yeah, they've chucked in some stinkers as well, though. And I know that it only takes one more. Eddie Howe's under pressure after one more defeat. It just seems like nobody is playing great consistently. No. You can't really pluck out many. I've seen the player of the month the other day.
Chris Wood.
Well, I just seen all the players nominated, and I thought, bloody hell, where's the stars gone?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't want to be too moany, but Tottenham could be 8th. I wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal slide out of the top 4 this year. How they've looked.
Well, they're 6th now, Arsenal.
Yeah, but they've looked like a team who would be lucky around 4th. I know we mentioned Liverpool, and we can't not what Slot's doing, but visually they don't look like a Champions elect. They might be the best team in the league. Man City don't look the same time without Rodri and De Bruyne on the field together, and De Bruyne is coming up for 33. Do you know what I mean?
And the more this carries on, the more the lead at the top for Liverpool is increasing. I mean, it's up to, what is it now? It's up to, 4 or 5 points to Man City. Arsenal, they're 9 points off the top. We've only played 11.
Yeah. Let me sum this. I'll just sum this up very quickly. How I look at majority of these teams in the league, and you can bring yourself into it if you want. Tottenham today, obviously, it's a poor defeat, and we'll come on to it. If they won, they would have gone 3rd. We knew that before kickoff. Okay, we could have gone 3rd, and we could lose next week and get booed off. That's how weird and very often very, very poor and sloppy a lot of teams have been in this league. And I'm not taking credit away from your Fulhams, your Forests, your Brentfords, your Bournemouths. They're kind of just doing what they've always done a little bit. That little cluster. I don't think Forest have been any better. They've always been a tough nut to crack at the City ground. I don't think Fulham are doing any better. I don't think Brentford are. But the teams around are so inconsistent, and there's not. Put it this way: I don't often bet on football. There's not many teams in this league I trust at the moment. I wouldn't even trust Liverpool because on the eye, I don't think they're blowing me away visually.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like I would not even begin to trying to guess. Probably any of it, to be honest. At the moment, I'd be quite confident it'd be in the bottom 6-ish, but I wouldn't be confident Liverpool win it. I wouldn't be confident that Arsenal are going to be in the top 4. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be, and I'll spin that on its head. I wouldn't be confident that Pep, Ange, Eddie Howe, wouldn't be surprised if they're all gone before the end of the season for one reason or the other. I'd love to have some good predictions because you're brave if you predict it.
Yeah, no, it's been a crazy start, and unpredictable is the word to use. We were going to do Forest Newcastle. I think we sort of covered that in there as well. And Forest, not a good result for them after their result against us last weekend. So we'll go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next for not Spurs 2, Ipswich 1. I wrote that out wrong. See, I was. Do you know what? We are part of a predictions league, and I said I think I put 4-0 to Spurs. To be honest, I was quite shocked when I saw 1-0, but when they went 1-0, they always go 1-0 down and they'll win 4-1. And I looked again and it's 2-0. I was like, okay. And then I saw the result and I flicked over to see my mate O'Hara on Sky Sports, and he started saying that Ange is under pressure again. And I was like, oh, well, welcome back to the O'Hara club. Ipswich impressed, and yeah, meant a lot to them. But I mean, they lost to Brighton, they lost to Palace, they lost to Ipswich. It's inconsistent, Sean.
Yeah, 2 seconds a minute. Got too much noise going on there. I'll be totally straight with you. I missed the first hour of the game.
Okay.
Because not unfortunately, my lad always plays Sunday afternoons and Saturday mornings, so that kills it. But I was following it on my phone, and we got a few Tottenham fans down. I got home for the last 20, I think. It just, and what I've read, it's just very, very much like the Palace game a little bit. Obviously, I think Ipswich, I've seen the goal, a bit of an overhead kick for the first, quite a good goal. It is inconsistent. The real kick in the teeth is we haven't been at home, really. And if you want incentive, I know it's early days, and I know a very few amount of points covers a lot of teams. There was a clear incentive there to go third. I think I said it last week. We got a chance to go third, to see how it pans out. It all panned out perfect for Tottenham to go third, and it's probably, my mate texted me, said Spurs struggle against teams that put up a bit of fight, and I don't know if it's a mixture of fight or a bit well organised. Do you know what I mean?
Organisation is the word I'd use.
Yeah, but it's the problem is Palace haven't won a game all season. We give them their first win. Ipswich haven't won a game all season. We gave them their first win. I think if we played Ipswich away, I think we'd probably beat them quite easy. I think when teams like Ipswich come away, if they spot a style like Ange's style and they think they can just sort of park the bus a bit and then counter and take their chances, that's how they're going to do it. And I think that is how we've struggled against. Like, we didn't get a lot of fight against York, beat you easy. Didn't get a lot of fight against Villa second half, beat them easy. Didn't get a lot of fight against United at Old Trafford, beat them easy. I could be wrong, but we're probably still the highest scorers in the league. But then we struggle to score against these teams who I think are probably dead certain finishing in the bottom 6. And it's not good enough. And it's right to be, I do agree that it's frustrating for fans to keep seeing that over and over. And there was boos at the end. I can't disagree with that. But then I was thinking, we're inconsistent. It's frustrating. And I'll go back to what I keep saying about these other teams. Like, I've even seen Arsenal fans calling for Arteta to go in the last fortnight. And I feel like fans, I don't know if it's real fans or just fans changing with how social media's changed fans. They don't seem to give managers long before they want them gone. As for sticking to my team, I think we've got a good enough team easily to be in the top 5 at the end of the season. But it's performances like this. Brighton, we go out. You said about Brighton, Man City. Second half, it's not. When I say the team, it also includes Ange, because I noticed teams it not working, and Ange just lets it go on for a little bit. But saying about what we said at the beginning of the show, most managers seem to do that nowadays. They seem to let it just drag on and on and on. Like, I thought we'd have made subs at halftime. Today we didn't. Yeah, it's frustrating. Like I said, we could have gone third, now 10th. And so But also a scary stat, and I don't know if there's any coincidence here. We've lost our last 5 games before the international breaks. Now, I don't know what's behind that. I really don't. But is it a coincidence? I don't know what goes on at the club before an international break. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if we finish third in the league. It wouldn't surprise me if Ange gets sacked at Christmas. You just don't know how it's going to go. And I'll be shocked if fans of a lot of clubs think the same. Like, I got an opinion on your lot a little bit, and I think that sort of falls into this pattern of maybe the Premier League's dropped off quite a lot. And when I say dropped off, I've sort of moaned about it a few years. I don't know. I kind of wonder if just too much football was catching up on football, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You can remember how poor that Euros was. Do you know what I mean? It was dour. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really enjoy many games in that at all. We bored our way to the final. Not good. The season started a bit. I can't remember many games where I think, oh, that's really entertaining. You just don't know what you're going to get.
It just seems disjointed, Sean. I mean, from the top to the bottom. We mentioned it earlier. I mean, Spurs, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Man United. I mean, Liverpool have been the only side that have been steadily impressive so far, and even they've lost to Forest at home, right? So, and Forest are a different entity this season to the sort of stereotype from that sense. But yeah, there's definitely a shift there, and it hasn't been for the better. And yeah, there hasn't been too many. I mean, there's been goals, but I think that's more to do with defensive naivety than attacking prowess, to be totally honest. But I mean, Ipswich. I mean, there's been Chelsea, Brentford, Ipswich. They've been involved in there's been loads of 4-3s and 5-2s and all this, but it hasn't had that wow factor that it has done in the past. I mean, I'm in agreement 100%. Let's take some of these comments a second. There were fools on the radio last night calling for Pep to be sacked. I can guarantee you there's people, apart from Liverpool, I bet there's some fans of some clubs that are calling for every other manager of the 19 clubs to be sacked, right? Obviously, Man United, it's already happened. But apart from Liverpool, every other club, there'll be a fan that wants the manager sacked. And that's the state we're in as a, maybe not Forest, but that's the state we're in. So I'm just going to break into your house, Sean. Tell you you're live on YouTube.
I think I'll tell you what it is. The wife put the Christmas tree up today, and they're putting all the junk back in the loft.
Right, okay, let's just hang on. No, hang on. Right, come on, Sean. You need a bit of authority here. It's the 10th of November, for God's sake.
No. Well, we're a very busy household. Let me just put it like that. It's finding the time to do these things.
So, theory.
Yeah, I do agree what you're saying, and to give that a little bit more context, I've always, again this year, I watched a fair bit of the Championship when I was on the telly. I watched a lot of it last year. Bass dropped off this year as well. We had 3 good footballing sides went up last year, and we had Leeds. Now, a lot of Leeds fans will tell you that they've got more of a balanced team and squad this year. But entertainment-wise, they should win that league at a canter, really. But their fans are finding the football boring. I read that all the time. So it's not filtering down great either. And I'll just mention my point quickly on West Ham, seeing as you're not going to cover them, which is linked in there every little bit of moaning I've been doing. I'm not 100% if you change the manager. I think you will. I'm not 100% sure you're going to improve loads this year. I think what you've got is going to be pretty much what you've got. I think the squad's been built with certain characters, and I think a few of these characters you're starting to sort of come out of the woodwork what they might be like a little bit. I think some of your signings have been a bit iffy.
I think we've signed individuals, and a lot of people said that yesterday. Sorry, Sean. But we've signed individuals that have incorporated into not a team. It's not a team. Every part of it is disjointed, and anybody that's watched it can see that. Now, look, we talked about Steiden last week and his influence and what he's doing currently, but yeah, I'm in agreement. If somebody else comes in, is there going to be a drastic change? There'll be minor changes, but are we going to see what we're hoping to see? I'm not so sure. Sharky says it was good to see Stevie Bacon being remembered before the match yesterday. Absolutely. And I think I read somewhere that for our next home game, it's going to be a proper tribute to him, because obviously they had to do the remembrance stuff. So hopefully that comes into fruition. Ipswich put 3 past Brentford last week, so they do have goals in them. All the teams have got goals in them, right? And there's no doubt about that. Michael says, Sean, you sound like a hammer. That's what we used to be, good at beating the good teams, but can't beat those poor teams. How embarrassing, losing at home to the Tractor Boys. There we go. Good point by Sean made. All these Nations League games plus domestic cup games have taken the gloss and intensity from the Premier League a bit.
I think I'm right. I think I'm right in saying this is the third international break this season already. Am I?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
We're in an era of the game where they want to just ram as much football as we can, and possibly. Yeah. I don't know if everyone's enjoying the Europa League and the Champions League new format, but they've only done that to ram in an extra 2 group games.
Exactly.
And that goes a little bit like the group. What we now, we're 4 games in the Europe, so usually a 4-team group. You'd be quite well into it now, and you sort of start working out who you've got to. What you've got to get. Say you're going away to Galatasaray or home to Juve or whatever. You know what you've got to get. Now, on Thursday night, I was, and this is going to make today's result seem even worse, which might have played a part in it. You win your first 3 games against 2 pub teams, more or less. Going away to Galatasaray on the first, it didn't matter at all.
No.
The key was to come back with no injuries. Do you know what I mean? And that extra travelling, and it's just such a show.
Yeah, I mean, it's Europe, it's the Cup, it's the 3 international breaks before the middle of November, it's the Euros in the summer, it's the whole season from last season. It's FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League, Europe, international. It's too much, Sean. It's too much.
It's too much, and obviously a lot of teams haven't got Europe, and you can't use being in Europe as an excuse because every team wants to be there, but something in the whole league's not working right, and it's not the teams you reeled out a minute ago. A lot of them aren't in Europe. Look, these teams, but I sort of said they're doing roughly as good as they are, so they know they got the 20-man squad. They know they got the league games. They probably won't give a damn about the League Cup. They prefer to be out of it. A lot of these clubs like that, so they know where they are as a club from the start. But yeah, I don't know if the season's going to change a lot, and some people probably disagree with me and say it's absolutely brilliant, blah blah blah. But I don't know what United played today, but I work for a United fan. They'll win. He said it's still poor, so they're not enjoying the wins because it's not United of old. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard. There's not many happy fan bases, and the only reason these stadiums are still full. It's because people are just addicted to the game and the owners know it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm of the mentality a little bit like I think you're mad going up to that game on Saturday versus Everton. Do you know what I mean? That's my mentality. I'm thinking, blimey, man, you got anything better to do for the odd day? Just turn the ticket down. I'm kind of, but I get it, but I think there is a point when you just don't enjoy going anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like I read the Tottenham fans after today's game, like, I want to put on there, and then why are you going then? But you know why they're going, and I think a lot of fans, especially with season ticket holders, are scared to give them up in case something incredible happens.
In case it gets brilliant,
In case it gets brilliant, but this too much football thing, I do think it's sort of we're paying the price a little bit because they only get like a fortnight off now, really, for pre-season, and. It's not good, and I can't remember exactly, but obviously we had the last Euros before everyone's gone, put back a year because of COVID. Then it congested a Euros, a World Cup, and a Euros even more.
Inside the space of like 4 years.
You have African players, there's more and more Asian players coming in the game. It's a lot of football. Oh, you've got a Copa America. You've got a lot of football. You've got a lot of travelling.
And there we go. Yeah. I think we've had a good assessment of the state of football, and it's not positive. Let's take some final comments before we wrap things up. Shark says football is overcomplicated with the tactics side of things these days. I wish teams would play 2 up front and stop playing it out from the back. Decorations go up 12 days before Christmas, come down 12 days after. There we go. Not on the 10th of November. How ridiculous, Sean. How ridiculous. More important to have 55% possession than to score goals. It's gone from football for the fans to football for money for the authorities. Yeah, and I think this weekend has epitomised that really, and the state of the Premier League as it is at the moment. And Arsenal have dropped points again, which we're not going to go into too much detail of because we are out of time. But Chelsea a little bit better. Arsenal are now 9 points off the top. And we've now got an international break, which I'm quite glad about, to be honest. I know we just moaned about them, but I'm quite looking forward to 15 days without football.
One quick point on
Yeah.
Arsenal, because I didn't watch that game. I don't know if you were going to
Okay.
cover that. You weren't.
Yeah.
Someone just, I can't remember who wrote about overcomplicating the game. Arteta is an example of that, really. He's done all right, but they've been crying out for a centre forward. He just clearly don't want to play one.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to play one. Havertz, he's not really centre forward. We all know he's not an out-and-out centre forward. And I think I've seen a team line up the other day. I can't remember, it was last weekend or in Europe, and they had it as Trossard and Havertz up front as a front two. I'm thinking, well, neither of them are strikers.
No.
And that's an example of overcomplicating it. And you get more and more, like, you've got some extreme styles, like Pep's quite extreme, Ange's quite extreme. The game was mainly 4-4-2, and you just go against each other man for man. It's gone out the window. I didn't see any corners from Tottenham today, although we've only conceded 2 from corners this year. But this zonal marking's come in about 10 years ago. Why that's ever come in the game, I don't know.
No.
And we could go on with all these silly little changes that have come in. And he's right, whoever said it is right. Too many coaches are overcomplicating it, trying different ways to play the beautiful game. Yeah, it's not very beautiful at the moment, in my opinion.
It's not. Well, I think we've put the football world to right there, Sean, in 32 minutes. I liked that very much. Yeah, indeed. Hopefully we'll come back with fresh faces and fresh minds. We play on the Monday night. So, we've got 3 Monday night football games in the space of about a month and a half. So that's going to make this a little bit problematic. We've got Newcastle away on the Monday night as we come back. So if we can keep that below 3, that would be ideal.
We're away to Man City next game. So
we're going to both have a fun weekend then. Well, maybe not. Who knows?
You just don't know. That's the thing.
No.
You just don't know what team's going to turn up.
Exactly. And when you think Man City are the stable, solid, win every week, and now that's out the window, I don't know where it's going, to be quite frank. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved in the chat tonight. As always, there's no game to build up to next week. But you should get Ange out and get Lopetegui in. That's the best comment of the night. Do that, Sean. Do that. From me, Conway Wines, and we'll see you soon right here on West. I'm going to Sean, thanks very much. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
No worries, mate. Cheers.